Blame Dan and Phil. Blame them. Blame them hard. I went to go see Dan and Phil's Terrible Influence, the tour. The Terrible Influence, the tour. Terrible Influence tour. Hooray for Dan and Phil always touring. Well, one time it was just Dan, but hooray for Dan and or Phil touring. Their shows are always so like hype. They just keep getting more and more hype as they go on, and as Dan and Phil get more comfortable being themselves and being silly and being in front of the crowd. And like this time they seemed so calm and like they were having so much fun. It was delightful. I got there late but was able to like hop in like right away. Like they really get the crowd going. They really like amp everybody up. There's so much shrieking and so much audience participation. Like not like individual audience participation, but like they always have them like vote on things or shout things out. And it's so much fun. It's also like a bunch of people that are like me in a room together, which is so uncommon. I don't know if everybody's like this, but all of my life, I've had a really hard time finding people that like get me. A lot of people, like I like people, I've had friends, but like we're not really into the same things, you know? They're geeky and I'm geeky, but they're geeky in the way of like sci-fi. Like I had a lot of friends who really liked Doctor Who. I didn't get into Doctor Who. I was really into Buffy in high school, and I didn't have any friends who were into Buffy. You know who was into Buffy? Amazing Phil. So this tour brought up the memories of Tatanoff, which is, if you're not a fan and you're not deep in the lore, it was from 2016, or at least it came out on YouTube right in 2016. The Amazing Tour is not on fire, like Amazing Phil and Dan is not on fire. They knew what they were doing. I read the book. I saw the tour. I dressed up that day. I'm not ashamed. I got a funny little ironic tourist hat to wear, just like Dan did when he was on the road. I was all in, baby. And I had like a playlist of songs for fall 2016 that like brought me like back to that time. I remember starting college really lonely. I like had gone from a high school that was like super close knit, which is not a common high school experience. I hear from everybody. Everybody hates high school. I really liked high school. It was like really, really academically challenging, really difficult, and everybody was so nice. And everybody else I talked to said that their experience was the opposite. When I went from that really academically rigorous, tight-knit high school to a really academically rigorous college where I didn't know anybody, it was like a shock, you know? And I remember thinking that time moved so slowly. Like, that was the longest however many weeks of my life that fall. I was like, this sucks. Like, everything sucks. Nobody likes me. I would go back to my room and film videos because I had no friends. Like, I tried really hard to have friends. Like, I joined a bunch of clubs and I like really tried to put myself out there, and I was not gelling with people. But what I did gel with was Dan and Phil. I would come back to my room, I would watch their live streams, I would make my own videos, I'd be like, hee hee, I'm just like them. I made a lot of videos because I'm like, who am I supposed to freaking talk to? Like, I just talk to the camera. And I was told at the time, like, oh, you're so good at talking to the camera. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I was good at talking to people. And then, you know, I've shifted and changed so much throughout the years. I'm wearing a freaking shirt that says Legalize Cowboys. You know, I would never wear something like this. And the inspiration photo, off the charts, 2016 make a never. Like, I love them so much. They're so great. I touched on this a bit in my video where I talked about seeing Dan on tour in 2022, about how Dan and Phil inspired me in so many aspects of my life. Like, I started drawing portraits because of them. I started editing because of them. I started making videos because of them. All kinds of things. They influenced my fashion. They influenced my music taste. They influenced my TV shows. I started watching Buffy because of them. I started watching True Blood. I started listening to Panic at the Disco. So many things. When someone says influencer, meaning that they influence people, boy, did they influence me. Look what I'm freaking wearing. I think it's so amazing and great to be part of a fandom like that. And the new tour, I'm not gonna give any spoilers because you need to just go see it. Go see it if you can, for sure. Go see it. It was the most fun tour I've seen of theirs, and I've seen all of them. It's so fun. They're having so much fun. It's so great, And what's also so mind-bending to me right now is that venues are sold out all over the world, full of people who are fans just like me. And these venues are so full of love and acceptance and hype and energy. I've never been in a room like that. I left the venue feeling energized and so excited and so full of life and so supported and so connected. And throughout my life, I've had friends with differing interests. I'm down to learn about other people's hobbies. I'm down to learn about it. But it's nice to have people who get you and who are connected to you and who understand how intensely you feel about something. The same people who are I want to wear this really weird shirt to show my support of the people I care about. The people who mean so much to me. And people don't get it. And people look at you weird, but that's kind of the point. That's why the Dan and Phil fandom is so amazing, because it's a place that people, they don't have to get it. You're there because nobody gets you. Or maybe that's why I'm there. Maybe other people are chilling outside of it. But with me, it was just a place that felt more home than actual home. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my Dan tour video, but I remember when I saw Dan on tour, hearing the jokes and being wait, this is my exact sense of humor. How did he just say that? And I'm because I follow him, because he has my exact same sense of humor, obviously. But it's so profound because he's real. He's a real life person in a room full of real life people who share my humor. And it's crazy. You just collected them all in one room, and I'm these are my local people? How come I never get to meet them? Why do I always meet people who don't think I'm delightful and funny when I'm my weirdest? It's sad. And it's also really amazing to have a place like that where you can so fully feel part of something. A lot of fandoms, of course, have this depth and this fan base that cares so much about, whatever they're a fan of. People can geek out with me. This is the only thing I'm part of that. And it's also a conglomerate of so many things, because it's it's Dan and Phil, it's emo music, it's a certain kind of fashion, it's certain kind of games, it's a certain kind of whatever. It's a bunch of things. It's not just a movie franchise or something. So it's there's so many things you can connect on. I haven't, because I'm a little bit shy, but but there's people who are so friendly. I felt we all talk the same. And in real life, when I use funny slang or I make funny references, or funny as in a little odd, a lot of times people don't get it. I have to explain it because I am a person of the internet, as I like to say. My accent is of the internet, my humor, so I have a lot of influences that are, not just like geographically local. And I know that's true for a lot of people, but then it becomes harder and harder to find your people because of the isolation of the internet. I don't know. I just think it's so profound and so amazing to be part of something and be your weirdest and keep getting weirder and keep getting bigger and less ashamed of yourself and more loved and more connected and learn new things and grow and have a place that feels like home. This whole experience made me think about Muppets in space. And I had a little rant prepared about Muppets in space. I won't go into all of it because it's irrelevant, but Muppets from space. It's just like this, I would say, because Gonzo is seen as weird in his group of friends. Like, they like him, but they think he's a little weird, a little nutty. He's Gonzo. Like, I think that even means, like, wild and chaotic, like, off the wall, And so he's like, he doesn't even know who he is or where he's from. And in Muppets from Space, he starts getting signs, and people don't believe him. Like he's getting signs in his cereal, like, we're gonna visit, and he's like, okay, what do I do? And he keeps getting like a sandwich talks to him, and like he sees stuff in the lawn, and like they tell him like, oh, wait on the roof, we'll come get you, and all his friends don't get it. Like, they don't see it, they don't understand, he just seems crazy to them. And then at the end, a bunch of Muppets that look just like Gonzo in cool, fancy outfits who look amazing, 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 come down, sing a song, and they're like, we're your family. And I'm like, that's me.
Now there's a party going on right here. A celebration. That's my family. That's my family.
Me going to Dan and Phil. Gonzo meeting his family. But what they dropped the ball with in Muppets from Space was that Gonzo didn't get to hang out with his family and like have a place that was home. Because the lesson of the movie was more like, your friends are your family, they didn't abandon you. And it's like, well, in this Muppet movie, the friends were not very nice. Like, they didn't really prove why they were good friends at all. They kind of made fun of him the whole movie. But then, like, they saved him from the government. Like, I mean, that's nice of them. But, like, they didn't really prove to be a good home. They just were there and preferred their friend not to die. Like, how much acceptance is that? Like, that's not much. That's such a low bar. But what I think, in terms of this Dan and Phil experience, was that Gonzo should have hung out with his family more. I thought that anyway. But Gonzo should have hung out with his family more, felt that love, felt that connection, and then still found a way to stay with his friends, because it's good to have variety. It's good to value your friends even if they're different from you. But it's also great to have a place that's like you, that you can call home, that you feel accepted, and you're allowed to be weird, and you're allowed to be yourself, and you're allowed to be, like, you understood. Like, you can say weird things and make weird jokes, and people are like, yeah, and like, no, I love it so much. When I got this sweatshirt, people were dunking on me, and I was ashamed to wear it until, like, I went to the show. I was like, so ashamed. I wore it like once under a coat, and I'm like, I can't wear this out. And maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. But now I'm like, it represents so much. It represents me. It's not just a dopey, ironic sweatshirt. It's me. It's everything I've grown to be, and all the steps I've taken to accept myself, and all the weird paths I took to get there. Like, it's everything. It's a dopey book about memes. It's a coffee collage book about travel. It's a mental health book about how to, not have anxiety attacks. That actually really works. Like those are some good tips in there. It's all of it. It's the fan art, it's the editing, and with fan art and editing, I got to make friends. I get to do things. I have new skills. I have new people. It's amazing. So yeah, I can dress like this now. And it's fun, and it's stupid, and it's me. And I appreciate that so much. So thanks, Dan and Phil. I love you guys. And that makes me love me too. Oh, one more thing. I know I'm probably cry face, but shout out to the fan who gave me this NordVPN friendship bracelet in line for merch. That's so sweet. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. The mic is on. The game is on. Sherlock music plays.